I used to think that once a person was gone, the truth died with them. That memories became just memories, softened and blurred by time. But I was wrong. My name is Richard. I'm 72 years old, retired, and a widower for the past 8 months. My wife Margaret passed away after a quiet battle with cancer. We were married for 42 years. People used to call us the perfect couple, and I believed it. God, I believed it with all my heart. After her funeral, I couldn't bring myself to go through her things. Her closet stayed untouched, her books remained where she left them. But about a week ago, I finally got the courage to open a wooden box she always kept locked in her desk. She said it was just old memories. Nothing worth bothering about, she'd chuckle. The lock clicked open easily. Inside there were letters, some photos, and a small leather notebook. That notebook. That's where everything changed. The notebook wasn't a diary in the traditional sense. It was more like a confession, written like she knew someday I might read it. The first page had a date, March 4th, 1984, just 6 months after we got married. She wrote, "If Richard ever reads this, I'm sorry. I loved you in my own way, but you were never the only one." I remember staring at that line for a long time. My heart pounded in my ears. I thought it was some kind of cruel joke, a misunderstanding. But the entries continued, memories, names, even places. She wrote about a man named Stephen, someone I vaguely remembered from the early days of our marriage. She called him my first real love. She described weekends she said were solo retreats, spent with him instead. I kept reading. I couldn't stop. Every sentence tore something from me. I remember confronting her once, years ago, about her frequent trips. She smiled, kissed me on the forehead and said, "Darling, if I ever cheat on you, I'd tell you first." I believed her. As the pages went on, she wrote about the guilt, about how she thought she could stop, about how Stephen moved away but came back. She even said she tried to break it off, that she loved me more as the years passed, but the truth never changed. One entry hit harder than the rest. Our daughter Emily. I sometimes wonder if she's Stephen's. I dropped the notebook. Emily is 37 now. She looks nothing like me. People used to joke about it. I always brushed it off. Now I wasn't so sure. I asked myself, over and over, how could she do this to me? For decades? But as I sat there in our quiet house with her scent still faint in the curtains, I remembered the love we did have. The nights we stayed up laughing. The times she held my hand in silence. Were those moments lies too? I spent the next day in a daze. I didn't sleep. I reread the notebook twice. Each time it made less sense and more sense at once. I finally called Emily. I didn't tell her the full story, just asked if she'd ever be open to doing a DNA test. She laughed at first, thinking I was joking. When I insisted, she said, "Sure, if it gives you peace, Dad." It arrived 3 days later. I mailed it back the same day. I watched the mailbox like a madman. 2 weeks later, I got the results. Not a match. I read the paper again and again, hoping I misread something, but no. My daughter. The girl I raised, loved, protected, wasn't mine biologically. I wept like a child. Not because I loved her less, but because everything I built my life around was based on a lie I never even had a chance to question. I didn't know what to say to Emily. I didn't say anything. She still doesn't know. Maybe one day I'll tell her. Maybe I won't. What I've come to realize, after all this, is that people are rarely just good, or just bad. Margaret wasn't a villain. She was human, flawed, complicated, just like all of us. She made choices, some selfish, some loving, some devastating. But she also stood by me when I was sick, raised Emily with more love than I could imagine, and held me when I broke down after my father died. So I forgive her, but I also forgive myself for not seeing, for not knowing, for believing too much. Now I sit alone with the truth, and while it hurts, it also sets me free, because now I love with open eyes. Now I remember the past as it was, not perfect but real, and sometimes that's enough.